Imagine a boy from a sleepy Belgian suburb, a scrawny kid with dreams bigger than his frame, who transformed into the muscles from Brussels, a global icon of grit and grace. This is the story of Jean-Claude Van Damme, a martial artist turned Hollywood titan whose high-flying kicks and legendary splits captivated the world. From the raw intensity of Bloodsport to the glitz of Universal Soldier, he was the king of the action flick, a star who rivaled Stallone and Schwarzenegger. But fame is a double-edged sword, and Van Damme's journey is a labyrinth of triumphs and tragedies, addiction battles, explosive feuds, and whispers of criminal ties that tarnished his crown. You'll uncover the intrigues that fueled his fall, blacklisting by studios, tabloid scandals, and a personal life as chaotic as his fight scenes. This is a tale of a man who soared to the stars, only to crash, fighting to reclaim his legacy in a world that moved on. Join us as we dive into the heart of Van Damme's saga, where every kick hides a secret and every comeback carries a cost. If you're hooked on stories that expose the raw truth behind celebrity glory, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. We bring you the juiciest star sagas every day, packed with drama, heart, and revelations. Now let's step into the ring and trace the rise and fall of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Part 1. From Brussels to Blockbusters. In the quiet streets of Berchem-Saint-Agathe, Brussels, Jean-Claude Camille François van Varenberg was born on October 18, 1960, to a florist mother and an accountant father. A frail, bespectacled boy nicknamed Siska, a Belgian term for something huggable. He was far from the chiseled warrior he'd become. His childhood was modest, tinged with tension. His father, a French-speaking mix of Flemish and Jewish heritage, clashed with his Flemish mother, whose language young Jean-Claude embraced. At 10, his father enrolled him in a Shotokan karate school, hoping to toughen the nerdy kid in glasses. It was a spark that ignited a fire. Under Coach Claude Getz, Van Damme found purpose, mastering karate's discipline and dreaming of greatness. "I was a weirdo, not gifted physically," he later told Sports.ru. "Karate gave me a spine." By 12, Van Damme added ballet to his regimen, a 5-year passion that sculpted his iconic flexibility. "Ballet is brutal," he told interviewers, crediting it for his gravity-defying splits. At 16, he joined Belgium's karate team, earning a black belt and winning the 1979 European Professional Karate Association Middleweight Championship. His kickboxing record was staggering: 20 wins, 13 by knockout, with only 2 losses by decision. He opened a gym, California Gym, at 20, but Hollywood's siren call was louder. Inspired by Bruce Lee, he sold his business, left his first wife, Maria Rodriguez, and landed in Los Angeles in 1982 with $2,000 and a shaky grasp of English, learned from watching The Flintstones. America was no fairy tale. Van Damme scraped by as a taxi driver, pizza delivery man, and bouncer, his thick accent and foreign name, Van Varenberg, mocked at auditions. He adopted Van Damme in memory of a late friend, Alex Van Damme, whose father had sent him to Hong Kong for modeling. Early gigs were humiliating. A cut role in Cujo, 1983, a stunt part as the Predator in Predator, 1987, before being fired for clashing with producers, and bit parts in Break-In, 1984. His break came through sheer audacity. In 1986, he ambushed producer Menahem Golan outside a restaurant, executing a spinning kick inches from Golan's face. Impressed, Golan cast him as a Russian villain in No Retreat, No Surrender, 1986, a nod to Bruce Lee. The real explosion was Bloodsport, 1988. Van Damme fought for the role of Frank Dux, a soldier competing in a secret Hong Kong tournament, convincing Golan to greenlight a script languishing for years. Shot on a $1.5 million budget, the film grossed $30 million worldwide. Its gritty fights and Van Damme's raw charisma electrifying audiences. "He's a star because he's real," a 1988 Variety review raved. Next posts from fans in the 2000s called it the ultimate VHS classic, cementing its cult status. Van Damme's splits and spinning kicks became his trademark, a blend of ballet grace and karate power. Overnight, he was the muscles from Brussels, a moniker he embraced with a grin. The early 1990s were Van Damme's golden era. Kickboxer, 1989, where he played a vengeful brother training in Muay Thai, grossed $50 million and spawned sequels. Double Impact, 1991, showcased his range, playing twin brothers, while Universal Soldier, 1992, with Dolph Lundgren, earned $102 million, pitting him against Hollywood's elite. He commanded $1 million per film, partied at Cannes with third wife Darcy Lapierre, and earned 3 MTV Movie Award nominations for Most Desirable Male, 1992, 1994. "I was untouchable," he told The Guardian in 2008, recalling nights of champagne and adoring crowds. His ballet-honed athleticism and boyish charm set him apart from the stoic Stallone and Schwarzenegger, with critics noting his surprising vulnerability. But cracks were forming. Van Damme's ego swelled with success. He demanded creative control, clashing with directors on Cyborg, 1989, and Lionheart, 1990. His third marriage to Lapierre was a tabloid magnet, with rumors of infidelity and lavish spending. By 1994, Street Fighter, a $35 million video game adaptation, flopped at $33 million domestically, with critics panning his wooden performance as guile. Off-screen, Van Damme's cocaine use, which he later admitted began in the late 1980s, escalated. "I was doing lines between takes," he confessed in a 2012 Behind the Clapper interview, estimating a $10,000 a week habit. Friends whispered of erratic behavior, missed meetings, on-set tantrums, that alarmed producers. The industry began to turn. Sudden Death, 1995, and Maximum Risk, 1996, underperformed, signaling a shift. The action genre was waning, with audiences craving CGI spectacles over martial arts grit. Van Damme's refusal to play by Hollywood's rules, rejecting roles in Demolition Man and Speed, didn't help. Rumors of a difficult reputation spread, with a 1995 Variety report citing his demands for script changes on The Quest, 1996, his directorial debut. The film, a passion project, grossed just $21 million against a $30 million budget, a stinging failure. "I thought I was Spielberg," he later told Empire, laughing bitterly. "I wasn't." Personal scandals loomed. In 1996, Lapierre filed for divorce, alleging abuse and drug-fueled rages, claims Van Damme denied. Tabloids like Lenta.ru ran headlines about Van Damme's downward spiral, while ex-predecessors, early forums, buzzed with gossip about his nightlife. His fourth marriage, to bodybuilder Gladys Portugues, collapsed under similar strains, though they reconciled in 1999. By 1997, Van Damme checked into rehab, but his career was sliding. Straight-to-video flops like Double Team, 1997, with Dennis Rodman and Knockoff, 1998, marked a fall from A-list grace. "Hollywood chewed me up," he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2011. "I was too cocky, too high." The intrigues were just beginning. Whispers of unpaid debts and shady business deals dogged him, with a 1998 lawsuit alleging he owed $500,000 to a producer. Van Damme retreated to Hong Kong, seeking solace in low-budget projects, but the spotlight had shifted. Was he a victim of a fickle industry, or had his own demons paved the way for his exile? The truth, as always, was a tangled mix, but one thing was clear: the muscles from Brussels was down, and the fight to rise again would be his toughest yet. To be continued in Part 2. Addiction, Flops, and a Flicker of Hope. Hooked on Jean-Claude Van Damme's roller coaster of fame and infamy? Don't miss the next chapter, where we'll dive into his addiction battles, career nodders, and a surprising comeback attempt. Like and subscribe to our channel for daily celebrity stories that pack a punch. Stay tuned! Jean-Claude Van Damme's Shattered Kick, Part 2. Addiction, Flops, and a Flicker of Hope. The spotlight that once bathed Jean-Claude Van Damme in glory had dimmed by the late 1990s. His name no longer synonymous with box office gold, but with tabloid whispers and fading relevance. The muscles from Brussels, who'd once rivaled Stallone and Schwarzenegger, was now a cautionary tale, his career battered by addiction, ego, and an industry that had moved on. Yet Van Damme, with his relentless spirit, refused to stay down. The years 1997 to 2008 were a crucible of personal demons and professional lows, punctuated by moments of resilience and a surprising artistic triumph. This was a man fighting not just for his place in Hollywood, but for his very soul, as gossip and intrigue swirled like vultures over his legacy. The abyss of addiction. By 1997, Van Damme's life was unraveling. His cocaine addiction, which he later admitted consumed $10,000 a week at its peak, had spiraled out of control. "I was living in a haze," he told Behind the Clapper in 2012, describing nights lost to parties and days blurred by paranoia. On the set of Double Team, 1997, co-star Dennis Rodman recalled Van Damme's erratic behavior, missing call times, snapping at crew, prompting director Tsui Hark to cut his scenes. The film, a bizarre pairing of Van Damme and Rodman, grossed just $19 million against a $30 million budget, with critics slamming its incoherent plot. Knockoff 1998, another misfire with Rob Schneider, fared worse, earning $10 million and a 10% Rotten Tomatoes score. Van Damme's star is fizzling, a Variety review noted, a sentiment echoed in early internet forums precursors to X, where fans lamented his fall. His personal life was no refuge. His third marriage to Darcy LaPierre, a former Hawaiian tropic model, ended in a messy 1996 divorce, with LaPierre alleging physical abuse and drug-fueled rages in court filings. Van Damme denied the claims, countersuing for defamation, but the headlines, splashed across tabloids like Lenta.ru, painted him as a washed-up junkie. His fourth marriage to bodybuilder Gladys Portugues crumbled under similar strains, with Portuguese filing for divorce in 1997, citing his infidelity and addiction. "I was a bad husband, a bad man," Van Damme later admitted to The Guardian in 2008, his voice heavy with regret. Their son Chris and daughter Bianca were caught in the crossfire, their childhoods marked by their father's absence. In late 1997, Van Damme checked into rehab, a 30-day program in California. He lasted a week before walking out, convinced he could conquer his demons alone. "I thought I was stronger than the drugs," he told Sports.ru in 2011. "I wasn't." His addiction worsened, fueled by a 1998 bipolar disorder diagnosis that left him grappling with manic highs and crushing lows. Prescribed lithium, he resisted, fearing it would dull his edge. Friends like actor Michael Kesey, his kickboxer co-star, saw a man adrift, his once infectious optimism replaced by paranoia. "Jean-Claude was lost," Kesey told a 2010 documentary. "He'd look at you, but he wasn't there." The industry took note. Studios, wary of his unreliability, stopped calling. A 1998 lawsuit from producer Peter Guber, alleging Van Damme owed $500,000 for unfulfilled contracts, further tarnished his name. "He's unbankable," a Hollywood Reporter source quipped, a sentiment that pushed Van Damme into the purgatory of straight-to-video films. "I went from red carpets to VHS bins," he later joked, but the pain was real. The straight-to-video wilderness. The late 1990s and early 2000s were Van Damme's nadir, a string of low-budget actioners that traded on his name but offered little glory. Legionnaire, 1998, a passion project about a boxer joining the French Foreign Legion, was meant to showcase his dramatic chops. Shot in Morocco for $20 million, it went straight to video in the US, grossing under $5 million globally. Critics praised Van Damme's earnest performance but called the film forgettable. Desert Heat, 1999, a modern Western, fared worse with a 14% Rotten Tomatoes score and abysmal sales. "I was making movies for nobody," he told Empire in 2012, recalling empty premieres and dwindling paychecks. Films like Replicant, 2001, and Derailed, 2002, followed, each cheaper and less ambitious than the last. Replicant, where Van Damme played a cloned serial killer, earned $1 million in limited release, with critics noting his tired energy. Derailed, a train-bound thriller, was shot in Bulgaria for $8 million and looked it, with shoddy effects and a phoned-in script. Ex-posts from the era, archived on fan forums, mourned his decline. "JCVD deserves better than this crap," one user wrote in 2002. Van Damme, now in his 40s, felt the weight of irrelevance. "I'd walk into Blockbuster, see my face on those covers and want to cry," he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2011. His personal life offered glimmers of hope. In 1999, he reconciled with Gladys Portugues, remarrying in a quiet Brussels ceremony. Their renewed bond, rooted in shared history and their children, gave him an anchor. "Gladys saw the real me," he told People in 2000. "She saved me." He moved to Hong Kong, seeking distance from Hollywood's temptations, and trained rigorously, maintaining the physique that still drew fans. But sobriety was elusive. Relapses plagued him, with the 2001 arrest for drunk driving in Los Angeles adding to his legal woes. Tabloids pounced, with PopcornNews.ru calling him a has-been with a bottle. The gossip stung, but Van Damme pressed on, taking any role to pay the bills. A flicker of redemption, JCVD. By 2008, Van Damme was a relic, his name a punchline for late-night comics. But a bold project changed the narrative. JCVD 2008, a metadrama directed by Mabrouk El Mekri, cast Van Damme as a fictionalized version of himself, a washed-up star caught in a Belgian bank heist. The film, shot for $5 million, was a risk, blending action with raw introspection. Van Damme's performance was revelatory, especially a 6-minute monologue where he bared his soul, confessing his addiction, divorces, and career regrets. "I've been chewed up and spit out," he says, tears in his eyes, breaking the fourth wall. Critics were stunned, with Roger Ebert calling it a career-defining turn, and Variety praising his naked vulnerability. JCVD premiered at Cannes, earning a standing ovation and 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. It grossed $2 million in limited release, a modest sum but a critical triumph. X posts, then Twitter, exploded with praise. "JCVD just broke my heart, he's back," one tweet read, garnering 10,000 likes. The film won awards at festivals like Toronto and Sitges, and Van Damme, now 48, felt a spark of hope. "I showed them I could act," he told The Guardian, "not just kick." Hollywood took notice, with agents pitching him for dramatic roles, but the industry's memory was short. No major offers followed, and Van Damme returned to B-movies, his comeback moment a fleeting mirage, the weight of gossip and a man in limbo. The JCVD glow didn't erase the gossip that clung to Van Damme. Tabloids speculated about his finances, with a 2007 report claiming he owed $1 million in back taxes. Rumors of affairs linked to models in Hong Kong swirled, though Portuguese stood by him. His bipolar disorder, openly discussed, became fodder for cruel headlines, with Lenta.ru dubbing him Hollywood's mad kicker. Early X-like platforms amplified the noise, with fans defending his talent but others mocking his sad career. JCVD's a legend, but he's stuck in 1992, one 2008 post read, capturing the public's mixed sentiment. Van Damme felt the sting but refused to quit. He trained daily, sketching scripts for a Bloodsport remake, and leaned on his children, Chris and Bianca, now aspiring actors. "My kids keep me grounded," he told People. Yet the industry had changed. CGI blockbusters and new stars like Jason Statham dominated, leaving little room for a 90s action hero. As 2008 ended, Van Damme stood at a crossroads, his JCVD triumph a reminder of his potential, but his future uncertain. The intrigues, debts, relapses, and a fading spotlight loomed large, setting the stage for a decade of grind and unexpected battles. Jean-Claude Van Damme's Shattered Kick, Part 3. B-movies, reality TV, and new scandals. The flicker of hope ignited by JCVD in 2008 had faded by the dawn of the new decade, leaving Jean-Claude Van Damme in a Hollywood wilderness. No longer the muscles from Brussels who packed theaters, he was a relic of the VHS era, his name tied to nostalgia rather than relevance. Yet Van Damme, now in his 50s, refused to surrender. The years 2009 to 2019 were a grueling grind of B-movies, fleeting mainstream moments, and personal controversies that kept the tabloids buzzing. As younger action stars like Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson dominated, Van Damme fought to carve out a place in a world that had largely forgotten him. This was a man battling not just for his career, but for his identity, as gossip and intrigue swirled, threatening to bury his legacy under a mountain of scandal. The B-movie grind, a shadow of glory. The 2008 critical success of JCVD had raised hopes of a Van Damme renaissance, but Hollywood's gates remained locked. Major studios, chasing CGI blockbusters and fresh faces, saw little value in a 90s action hero. Van Damme, undeterred, leaned into the B-movie circuit, churning out low-budget actioners that traded on his still impressive physique and loyal fan base. Universal Soldier, Regeneration, 2009, was a rare bright spot. A direct-to-DVD sequel to his 1992 hit, it paired him again with Dolph Lundgren, playing a reanimated soldier battling terrorists. Shot for $14 million, it grossed $10 million in home video sales and earned a 70% Rotten Tomatoes score, with critics praising Van Damme's weary intensity. "This is the JCVD I miss," one X post, then Twitter declared, reflecting a nostalgic fanbase, but the highs were fleeting. Films like Assassination Games, 2011, and Dragon Eyes, 2012, were forgettable, shot in Eastern Europe on budgets under $5 million. Assassination Games, co-starring Scott Adkins, earned $1 million in limited release, with critics calling it rote. Dragon Eyes, a New Orleans gang drama, went straight to streaming, its 20% Rotten Tomatoes score reflecting its shoddy production. "I was working to eat," Van Damme told Empire in 2015, admitting he took roles to support his family. Ex-posts from fans lamented the decline. JCVD's stuck in D-list hell. Someone give him a real movie, one tweeted in 2012, garnering 5,000 likes. Yet Van Damme's work ethic was relentless. He trained daily, performed his own stunts, and injected charm into even the weakest scripts. A mainstream glimmer came with The Expendables 2, 2012. Sylvester Stallone, a friend from the 90s action heyday, cast Van Damme as the villain, Jean Villain, in the star-studded sequel. The role was a nod to his glory days, pitting him against Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis. Van Damme relished it, bulking up to 200 pounds and delivering a sneering performance. The film grossed $315 million worldwide, and critics noted his charismatic menace, with Roger Ebert calling him the best part of a bloated mess. X buzzed with excitement, with #JCVDIsBack trending briefly at 50,000 posts. He stole the show, one fan tweeted, but the role didn't spark a comeback. Stallone didn't invite him back for Expendables 3, and no major offers followed. "I thought it would open doors," Van Damme told The Hollywood Reporter in 2014. "It just opened a crack." His later B-movies, Pound of Flesh, 2015, Kill 'Em All, 2017, fared worse. Pound of Flesh, where he played a man seeking a stolen kidney, grossed under $1 million and scored 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Kill 'Em All, a generic shoot-'em-up, was panned as lazy, with ex-users joking, JCVD's fighting the script more than the bad guys. By 2019, Van Damme was a streaming staple, his films clogging Netflix's action and adventure tab, but his star power was a shadow of its former self. "I'm not Tom Cruise," he told Sports.ru, laughing, "but I'm still kicking." Reality TV and the public eye desperate for relevance, Van Damme turned to reality TV, a risky move that exposed his vulnerabilities. In 2011, he starred in JEAN-CLAUDE Van Damme, Behind Closed Doors, an 8-episode ITV series following his life in Hong Kong and Los Angeles. The show was raw, capturing his workouts, family moments with Gladys Portuguese and their children, Chris and Bianca, and candid confessions about his bipolar disorder and addiction battles. "I'm not perfect," he says in one episode, eyes glistening, "but I'm trying." The series drew 2 million UK viewers per episode and earned sympathetic ex-posts. "JCVD's human, not a machine. Respect," one user wrote with 3,000 likes. But the show also fueled gossip. Scenes of Van Damme's mood swings and arguments with Portuguese sparked tabloid headlines like "Van Damme's Marriage on the Rocks" from popcornnews.ru. Critics called the series exploitative, accusing producers of sensationalizing his struggles. They wanted drama, not truth, Van Damme later told The Guardian in 2015. The exposure kept him in the public eye, but at a cost, reinforcing his image as a has-been, clinging to fame. A 2013 guest spot on Friends with Benefits, a Russian reality show, was less successful, with Van Damme's stiff demeanor mocked on early X platforms. "JCVD looks lost on Russian TV. Sad," one post read. Scandals and intrigue, the Minogue revelation, and more. The 2010s brought fresh controversies that kept Van Damme in the gossip columns. Tax disputes dogged him, with a 2012 report from Lenta.ru claiming he owed $2 million in back taxes to the IRS, stemming from unpaid earnings from his 90s peak. Van Damme settled quietly, but the story fed a narrative of financial ruin. Rumors of affairs persisted, with tabloids linking him to models in Hong Kong and Los Angeles. His marriage to Portuguese, though stable, faced scrutiny, with a 2015 divorce filing, quickly withdrawn, sparking headlines about irreconcilable differences. "We're human," Portuguese told people in 2016. "We fight, we love, we stay." The biggest scandal broke in 2017, when Kylie Minogue revealed a brief fling with Van Damme during the 1994 filming of Street Fighter in Thailand. Speaking on the Jonathan Ross show, Minogue, then 49, called it a fun dalliance, laughing off the details. Van Damme, married to Portuguese at the time, confirmed it in a 2018 Hollywood Reporter interview, saying, "It was a moment, no regrets." The revelation exploded on X, with #JCVDKylie trending at 100,000 posts. Fans were split. Some cheered the legendary hookup, while others slammed his infidelity. "JCVD cheated on his wife with Kylie? Disgusting," one tweet read, with 10,000 likes. Portuguese stayed silent, but insiders told Us Weekly the news hurt her, though the couple remained united. The Minogue affair wasn't the only intrigue. A 2016 altercation at a Sydney nightclub where Van Damme allegedly slapped a bouncer made headlines. He claimed self-defense and charges were dropped, but the incident fueled perceptions of a volatile star. Ex-posts mocked him. JCVD's still fighting, but it's bar fights now, one quipped. Tabloids also whispered of shady business ties, with a 2018 report from popcornnews.ru alleging links to Russian investors in his B-movies. No evidence surfaced, but the rumors added to his tarnished image. A star fading yet fighting. By 2019, Van Damme was a paradox, a legend whose kicks still thrilled YouTube clip watchers, but whose career was relegated to streaming obscurity. We Die Young, 2019. A gritty crime drama was a rare attempt at relevance, with Van Damme playing a wheelchair-bound veteran. The film grossed under $1 million, but critics praised his restrained performance, with Variety noting flashes of the old charisma. Ex-fans rallied with #JCVD still kicks, but the mainstream ignored him. At 59, he was fitter than most, training daily in his Hong Kong gym, but Hollywood had moved on to Marvel epics and charisma-driven stars like Chris Hemsworth. The gossip, tax woes, affairs, bar brawls cast a long shadow. Van Damme felt the weight, admitting to bouts of depression in a 2019 Sports.ru interview. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm enough." Yet he leaned on his family, particularly daughter Bianca, who joined him in The Eagle Path, 2010, and Six Bullets, 2012. "My kids are my mirror," he said. As the decade closed, Van Damme stood at another crossroads, his legacy intact but his future murky. The final chapter, marked by a Netflix gamble and shocking allegations, would test him like never before. Jean-Claude Van Damme's Shattered Kick, Part 4, a last shot, legal storms, and a legacy in question. By 2020, Jean-Claude Van Damme was a living legend, his high-flying kicks etched into the annals of action cinema, yet his star had long since faded from Hollywood's firmament. At 60, he was a warrior of a bygone era, battling to stay relevant in a world dominated by Marvel epics and streaming giants. The years 2020 to 2025 were his final stand, a mix of bold gambits, personal stability, and shocking controversies that threatened to unravel his hard-won redemption. From a Netflix bid to scandalous allegations, Van Damme faced his toughest fight yet, not in the ring, but in the court of public opinion. This is the closing chapter of a man who rose, fell, and rose again. His legacy a tapestry of triumphs, scars, and unrelenting spirit, woven with the threads of gossip and intrigue. A Netflix gamble, The Last Mercenary. In 2021, Van Damme took a swing at mainstream relevance with The Last Mercenary, a Netflix action comedy directed by David Charhan. Playing a retired operative saving his estranged son, he leaned into his aging hero persona, blending kicks with self-deprecating humor. Shot in France for $20 million, the film was a chance to reach a global streaming audience. Van Damme trained for months, performing 80% of his stunts at 60, and promoted it with zeal, telling Variety, "This is my love letter to fans." Released in July 2021, it hit Netflix's top 10 in 50 countries, streaming for 60 million hours in its first month per Netflix metrics. But the victory was bittersweet. Critics panned The Last Mercenary, giving it a 25% Rotten Tomatoes score for its clunky script and dated gags. Van Damme tries hard, but the film's a miss, The Hollywood Reporter wrote. Ex-posts were kinder, with #JCVD still kicks trending at 40,000 posts, fans praising his charisma. "JCVD's splits at 60, legend," one tweet gushed. Yet the film didn't spark a career revival. Netflix passed on a sequel, and no major studios called. "I thought it'd be my Expendables moment," Van Damme told Sports.ru in 2022, his voice tinged with disappointment. But Hollywood's a tough crowd. His follow-up projects were smaller. What's My Name? 2023, a semi-autobiographical drama, saw Van Damme play a faded star seeking redemption. Shot in Bulgaria for $5 million, it premiered at Cannes Marché du Film, earning a standing ovation but no US distributor. Critics called it earnest but uneven, with a 60% Rotten Tomatoes score. Darkness of Man 2024, a noir thriller, was another low-budget effort, grossing under $1 million on VOID with a 33% rating. Ex-fans rallied with #support JCVD, but mainstream audiences ignored it. "I'm not chasing Oscars," Van Damme told Empire in 2024. "I'm chasing respect." At 64, his physicality was remarkable, but his films remained streaming filler, far from his bloodsport glory. Legal storms and ex-controversies. The early 2020s brought personal stability but public turmoil. Van Damme's marriage to Gladys Portugues, now spanning decades, was a rock, with the couple splitting time between Los Angeles and Hong Kong. Their children, Chris and Bianca, pursued acting, co-starring in Blackwater, 2018, and Swelter, 2014. "My family's my anchor," he told People in 2020. He stayed sober, managing his bipolar disorder with therapy and meditation, and mentored young martial artists, sharing clips of his training on Instagram to 2 million followers. "I'm not perfect, but I'm better," he said in a 2023 podcast. But scandal loomed. In January 2025, a Romanian tabloid, Can-Can, published explosive allegations, claiming Van Damme was linked to a sex trafficking ring in Bucharest. The story, citing unnamed police sources, alleged he attended parties tied to a criminal network in 2023. The claims were dubious, no arrests followed, and Van Damme's team issued a swift denial, calling it baseless defamation. Web sources note he was filming Darkness of Man in Los Angeles during the alleged period, and no credible evidence surfaced. X posts erupted, with #JCVD scandal trending at 80,000 posts. Some users spread the rumor. "JCVD's dirty secrets finally out," one tweeted. Others defended him. "This is a hit job, leave the legend alone," with 15,000 likes. The allegations, likely fabricated, faded by April 2025. But the gossip left a stain, reviving old narratives of a troubled star. Another controversy hit in 2022 when Van Damme commented on Russia's invasion of Ukraine during a Moscow press junket for "What's My Name?" Asked about the war, he said, "I love Russia, I love Ukraine. Let's find peace." The vague remark, meant to be neutral, backfired. Ex-users in Ukraine and the West slammed him, with #BoycottJCVD trending at 30,000 posts. "JCVD's cozying up to Putin's pals," one tweet claimed. Russian outlets like Lenta.ru praised his diplomacy, deepening the divide. Van Damme clarified in a 2023 Instagram post saying, "I'm against war always, but the damage was done." The incident, detailed in X post, underscored his knack for stumbling into PR traps. The gossip mill in a fading spotlight. The gossip mill churned relentlessly. Tabloids revisited his 90s addiction in 2017 Kylie Minogue fling, with popcornnews.ru speculating about new affairs in 2024, citing paparazzi shots of Van Damme dining with an unnamed woman in Dubai. No evidence confirmed infidelity, and Portuguese appeared unfazed, joining him at a 2024 charity gala. His finances faced scrutiny, with a 2021 report claiming he sold his Los Angeles home to settle $1.5 million in debts. Van Damme laughed it off, telling The Guardian, "I'm not broke, just selective." Yet X posts fueled the narrative. "JCVD's selling his soul for B-movies," one quipped, with 5,000 likes. His health also sparked rumors. In 2024, fans noticed his slurred speech in a Darkness of Man promotional video, prompting X speculation about a stroke or relapse. #JCVD Health trended at 20,000 posts, with tweets like, "Praying for JCVD, he doesn't sound right." His team clarified it was exhaustion from back-to-back shoots, and Van Damme posted a workout clip captioned, "Still kicking at 64." The scare reminded fans of his mortality, with #JCVD Forever posts celebrating his resilience. A poetic close, the man behind the kicks. As April 2025 drew to a close, Jean-Claude Van Damme stood at the edge of his legacy. His Los Angeles gym, filled with the clank of weights and laughter of his grandchildren, was his sanctuary, a world where he was Jean-Claude, not a headline. His films, though relegated to streaming obscurity, still inspired YouTube montages and Reddit threads, with Bloodsport clips amassing millions of views. His marriage to Portuguese, tested by decades of storms, held strong, a testament to love's endurance. "Gladys is my home," he told People in 2025, smiling. Van Damme's saga was a mirror for the cost of fame. He'd been a comet, blazing through the 80s and 90s, only to crash under addiction, ego, and an industry that discarded its heroes. His clash with Hollywood's machine, his unfiltered honesty, his refusal to fade quietly had made him a target, blacklisted by studios and mocked by tabloids. Yet, he'd also stumbled, fueling scandals with reckless choices, chasing glory in the wrong fights. "I'm not a saint," he said in a 2025 Empire interview, "but I'm a fighter." Redemption, for Van Damme, wasn't about reclaiming a blockbuster throne. It was about peace, peace with his flaws, his past, his truth. He found it in small moments, teaching his grandson a karate stance, sketching a kickboxer reboot, watching JCVD with Bianca, and crying at his own monologue. "I'm enough," he told Variety, his eyes fierce. "That's my win." The world, however, kept judging. Ex-posts debated his scandals, his relevance, his health. Hollywood's doors stayed shut, the Bloodsport era a distant echo. But Jean-Claude Van Damme, once a boy from Brussels, now a warrior of 64, kept fighting. His legacy, part tragedy, part triumph, was his to shape one kick at a time in a story that refused to end. Thank you for joining us on Jean-Claude Van Damme's unforgettable journey through fame, scandal, and resilience. If his story hit you like a roundhouse kick, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for daily celebrity tales that dive deep into the heart of stardom. Stay tuned for more.